Bam. Sam Bam and Kaboom. Hopefully I sound okay and the music's not too crazy. Hopefully. I got a new mic today too, so hopefully it sounds pretty good. Hopefully it sounds crisp and clear. Like I said, hopefully crisp and clear. There we go. Hopefully that also fixes the issue. There we go. There we go. Well, guys, gentlemen, gentle ladies, crusaders and pillagers, and whatever names you go by, we did it. That's all that matters. Is we went for cookies and ass whoopings, and we ate all the cookies on the way. Salt Lake City. Sandy, Utah Regional. There's tons of them we could technically talk about, I guess, right? Like, we could talk about, truly we could talk about, like, a bunch of them. Doesn't just have to be that one. Be any regional. Any of them. Hey, yo. Kakam Games, how you doing? We are ready today. What up, Elo? How you doing? Elo, hi. Olo. That's my attempt. I'm going to Seattle Regionals in October using this deck. It's my favorite. Amen, brother. It's mine too. Good luck. Good luck. I might end up going to another regional in October as well. Might be going to Des Moines, Iowa. Not Idaho. Des Moines, Iowa. Might be doing that. My goal now is to look out for a YCS. That's really what I want to look out for. That's what I want to see, is a good old YCS. Like, I've not been to a YCS. I've been to a Nationals before. I've been, to Regionals. I've been to, like, OTS Championships, but not a YCS yet. That's on my bucket list to try. On my bucket list. A regional on Saturday for sure, playing as close to your list as I can get. Yo, 4-1D locals with Infernoble D-Link did me round 2. These Doomslayer official. Good for you, my man. Good for you. Well, good luck, Vincent. Good luck. Enjoy the experience. Like, this regionals was fantastic. I don't know if if anyone from Salt Lake even like, a subscriber or anything or watches my videos, but that regional ran so smooth. So smooth. My only complaint is every round we had an announcement, but other than that, like, it was just ran perfect. Perfect. And, normally when you go to regionals, like, you kind of, like, get, like, a one free round, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes you get just, like, a bad player or a bad deck, or, you just get, like, a new player or something. You get something. But my boys and I, we never got a bad player. Like, it was insane. My buddy Caleb that plays Synchron, he ended up getting the same record as I did. He just bubbled out. So we actually have, like, a 5-2 record Synchron player as well. I run Sky Striker spells, and my deck is so consistent. Yeah, it works for you, man. It works for you. I think I saw it actually today. I really did. I think because I was going through, I think I saw it. Side low-key good versus Runic Sprite. For hire, tested tonight, loved it. Gozen's like I don't know. My side deck is just so bad. Like, my side deck was not the best in my opinion. Was not the best. But it was all right. I was thinking maybe like you could side in like something like Gozen or something like that, rivalry in the deck, and it'd be all right. Good night, Blue Sky. Thank you for popping on, for leaving. It was always a little bit. But yeah, the deck performed phenomenal. Phenomenal. I cannot. My poor deck box has been through the... Do you feel like you needed a card for time? No, not really. Most of my games were over before time was called, but I did watch another Infernoble player that did get wrapped up into time. Conveniently, he paid 12 for field, and the players he was playing against was playing, I think, Mathmech, so they already paid 2,000 for Heat Soul, so like it was in his favor. But every now and then, like I wonder, do you feel like for now we don't say? I didn't need it at all. Did not miss it at all. What tool would you say is best to use practice? Dueling Book, Omega, EDO Pro? Ugh. I think in person. I need the cloth mat you got for sale. It's fine. This one's cloth too. This one's cloth. Is it the Song of Roland, the one with Roland and or Charles and Angelica? Yeah. Also, if you guys have ordered mats, this like week was entirely busy. I got all the orders get put in like the day of. It's just I haven't gone in and hit like sent, or like I get like the shipping sent like a day late. And then when I get the shipping sent from my distributor, I don't have I'm at work or I'm sleeping because I'm night shift, so I don't have time to like go in and put it in. So it takes till my days get off, and by the time my days get off, it's like this mat has been delivered. So it's like, well, there's no point in me in sending ship out anyway. So, well, Synchro was nice. I didn't miss it at all. I kind of wish we could play it. Remote duel now. We could remote duel. I might remote duel. I don't know if I will. Like I just figured we'd get together, talk, discuss some things. It's been a hot minute since I went live due to like prepping for all those regionals and stuff like that. For as long as KP, for what you say is the best for practice, I actually think if you're going to, in person is the best in my opinion, but I understand that people don't. If you want the best testing, I do believe something like Dueling Book is better because it's more like free roam, right? Free-ish. Like if you misplay, you can take it back without the computer or like the system locking you into it. I think if you're doing like really stringent testing with a buddy, with a friend, Dueling Book is the best. But if you're just going to go try and grind a ladder, I prefer Omega to grind a ladder rather than like Dueling Book. Just me though. Just I. But yeah, the deck was phenomenal, gents. I think I went ahead and uploaded a profile, but like, yeah, the deck did everything it was supposed to do. Very, very well. How did you beat Kashtira? I hate Fenrir, it's the problem. Kashtira, man, I just... I won the dice roll. Went first, they couldn't have my board. Went second, and the walking shifter, so like you can't really do anything. Then I just went again, and... went first and just did it that way. Just won the dice roll. Forehead. Yeah, just win the dice roll. More so, if anything I learned at this, if I learned anything at this regional, it was how to successfully play around Super Poly. You know how many times I looked at a hand and saw Super Poly? Like 3 times. It's not a lot, but like, if I had a nickel for every time I saw it, like that'd be 3 nickels. Like, that'd be quite a bit of nickels, so. But, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I went into the regional very confident. Like I said, I went in fearing Pearly because I never got a test against it, and fearing Shifter. And I ended up leaving the regional, still scared of Pearly, even though I was able to beat my Pearly matchup. Still scared of Shifter, and now scared of Chimera Fusion because that card is insane. That card is cracked. Yeah, the Doomslayer's kind of right. Like, Gearfried's like... Arias Heart's like literally the walking problem because it's a shifter on legs. So it's like, if you have the ability to like get Gearfried out, I mean, you waste your battle phase, but you just if you solve a Rise Heart, you're pretty okay. But Rise Heart's kind of rough, like I ain't gonna lie. But really, guys, the MVP of the entire deck, I think all day, like that performed over Raten was Goki. I truly think that this card outperformed everything. Being able to make it and then just literally destroy things and just sit up there and be a towers is pretty cool. I was actually able to out the skill drain stuff, man. Like, Eldritch flipped skill drain on me, and I was like, sweet, make this. I was like, effect tribute for cost, and just nuked everything. It was insane. Doing a round roll. Is there any lines that help play through Shifter? I know probably not. I don't know anything. So this line plays through Shifter 100%, okay? It's a very good secret, and not a lot of people know it. So once they fire Shifter on you, You stand up from your chair and you go outside and you play outside. Just enjoy the fresh air because you aren't playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm joking. Shifter, there you can't really beat Shifter. There's not really any lines that beat Shifter. Maybe if you get Shifter, you can, if you hard open Gearfried, you can like maybe smack out a Gearfried, depending on the hand. But Shifter's just rough. There's not a lot of decks that can actually beat Shifter. That's where cards like I believe like Goki Power Load might come up because like if you even want to try to play under Shifter, right? You can end up just maybe squeezing out this guy, and this guy will protect you. I get Ash Impermed on every normal summon of Connector. How do I play after that? It's so hard to make a solid board afterwards. So, sweet, I'll tell you. King of Nerds. All right, let me answer this one question. You said Goki plus Charles is a line for Super Poly, right? If you can get to Goki plus Charles, it is, because they can't Super Poly. Like, you got to make sure you solve Angelica, right? So, like, during the end phase, you got to pop Angelica with Charles' effect, or you got to just, like, use Angelica. Like, if Angelica gets disrupted, you got to use Angelica to make Charles. But they can't Super Poly your board because Goki's unaffected. But if you're getting 8, like, here, I'll throw a scenario real quick. So let's just go ahead and throw Connector out here. I've done it 100 times, so, like, I enjoy it. So we'll just throw Connector, and it will throw out literally Chalice, Durandal. We don't have to throw out all the cards, but you'll get the gist. Museum. So if you open, and then of course the cards themselves, right? You have an accent it sends for cost, which you can't sabotage. So just you can still make Gearfried can banish from field or grave. Like, so like if you have an equip spell, you just equipped it, then banish it for Gearfried to summon it. So you can make Gearfried, but again, that's where you're requiring like your hand to be completely stacked in order to beat it. And like, if let's be honest, like you have to use everything to out it. But if you open any of these guys right here, yeah, 11 like literally 11 Rotas help us beat. Hang on, so we throw in him, and then where is it at? Flint Lady. And like even in some scenarios, Ricardetto actually, if you open Ricardetto plus another Fire Warrior in hand, like you still beat it. So let's just show you this. So you have a total of 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, potentially 13 cards to be able to play through Connector getting disrupted. So we will just go ahead and fling in Heritage of the Chalice, right? We'll just go through the motions. So you normal summon Connector. Connector eats Imperm Rash, right? Oh no, so Connector did the job. Connector literally did what its design is supposed to do for the deck. So then you just fire off Chalice, grab yourself Durandal, and then of course, you know, if you have a pitch, you can just actually go for Oliver, go for Oliver to pitch. But we'll just go here, use Durandal's effect, destroy to go ahead and grab yourself the Flint Lady, and then you special summon Flint Lady, and you're off to the races. If you happen to have like a discard, let's say you open Busted and like you open something like this, you know, and you normal Connector and they hit you with Imperm, you go this, fire this off, and you grab yourself Oliver. Now, given this is best case scenario, so we won't utilize this really, but then you just pitch here to summon here, and then you can either go Isolde or you can go into Angelica. Most of the times when I end up using like this route, I'll make Angelica because Angelica will grab the field spell, right? And then if they ash the field spell, you still have Oliver's effect to attempt to attach to do something. So like normally going Angelica, this route's the best route. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you can't negate, but you can, are we talking about, just to clarify, we're talking about being able to go for a routing a Rise Heart, because if we're just outing a Rise Heart, we literally just go Gearfried attack, Gearfried suck up a Rise Heart, and then we can negate with using the Rise Heart. But if you're talking about playing under Shifter, then yeah, you're absolutely correct. We can't do anything really. Like I said, we really can't do nothing under Shifter. Like go outside and play, walk down to the next convenience store, buy yourself a drink, let them do their thing. Yeah. So that's how you end up beating Pearl Connector getting hit. It's just literally like half your deck is designed, like a third, if not a third, maybe more. Maybe someone who actually is good with math can tell you, because I'm not good at math. But like A third of your deck lets you push through connector getting hit, and that's I've never. Now again, man, like if you have like a hand that's just like, you know, like this right here, right? Like this is a bad hand, but you ain't playing with this regardless. But if this is like something like your hand is, and they end up hitting your connector, like it's the game. It's honestly the game. There's no reason, like, I mean, like, if you're opening, like, this type of, like, hand a lot, whether it's just, like, you're not opening, like, Durandal, Chalice, Heritage, Rhoda, or any sort of, like, any extenders, you might want to look back at your deck building. Because, like, these hands will happen. Don't get me wrong. They will happen. But you just need to... 1 + 1 is 7. The Doomslayer's right. Oh, shit. How you doing, Viscoth? How you doing? But... yeah, it's just pretty nice. Like, I still believe, like, I know some people are like, I've had success with the Battling Boxer stuff. I'm so happy to hear that. I am so happy. But after looking at a hand and seeing Super Poly, and then realizing that I could have set up my board, that I was able to set my board up to not lose a Super Poly versus making my entire, like, board susceptible to Super Poly, kind of nice. Last locals, my opponent dropped Shifter in game 1. I died, and then he dropped Shifter in game 2. Again, I made Baguska. He impermed. I died. Fastest match. Oh, my God, dude. That's rough. You got this, right, Baguska? You got this? And then just impermed. Nasty. Nasty. Guys, so these are like Team Sam sleeves, and I have to tell you guys something. These are probably hands down my favorite sleeves. Like, I cannot lie. Like, Love Imperium Duelist, my favorite deck box of all time is still their deck box here, which I use to this day. I have tons of their deck boxes. I use their sleeves forever, but these sleeves are where it's at. Like, these lasted 7 rounds, and they are just solid. Like, barely, like, nothing. Now, again, King of Nerds, like, I understand, like, so here's the thing, right, is, like, let's say you don't play Connector. I don't know if, like, if you're arguing, if you're just curious, you're wondering how you play through, which, in that case, this is the best way I can tell you, is that you play through with the, with all the cards that search. That's how you do it. You just grab another extender, push through. But if you're, like, contemplating on switching engines, so let's say they had Ash Blossom, right, or Imperm, and you normal summon, whatever one card starter you have is still going to need that Imperm. And if they're a good player, they're going to wait. Like, if you normal summon that Battling Boxer guy on me, and I have Imperm, I ain't going to stop it. Add it. I'm going to wait for your Isolde. I'm going to wait for your Angelica. Like, I'm going to wait for those powerful cards. Whereas if you normal summon Connector and it goes off, like, literally the Imperm either smacks the Connector, which is what Connector's supposed to do, or they keep it in there, and I see the Connector's there, and then I construct my plays accordingly to bait out, right? To bait out the Imperm, or to make the Imperm less impactful. The best feeling ever is making Angelica and then making Isolde and using Isolde's effect for cost to summon, and they smack Imperm on Isolde, and you're just like, gotcha, bitch. And then you just use Angelica and combo off. Truly insane. Flameville counter and uppercut, doing well with it. Not gonna lie, good for you, my man James, good for you. I just couldn't find the space for it. And there was, like, my buddy Emmanuel brought up some points that, like, if we do the typical, like, summon from the deck combo, like, it's just, it requires too much, I think. I'm at 42, though, debating if I should go 43 with a third Ogier or Roland. What do you think? I think you should have a third Ogier no matter what. I think 3 Ogier is correct. I think 3 Renaud is correct. I think I'm going to move my camera just a little bit over. There we go. I think 3 of these are correct. I don't think you should play any less. It just blows my mind, because I see some builds that are doing well, right? I mean, it doesn't have to do well. And, Battle Fader. They're thinking ahead, right? So you want to win all the time, right? So you want to optimize your chances to winning. So you want to max out on cards like Ogier and Renaud, because those two cards in conjunction with each other give you a protected combo with Insurance with Gearfried all the time. And I think we did the math on my Discord. It's like a 53.7% chance of opening either. I think, no, take that back. It was a 55.7% chance of either opening Ogier and Renaud or Ogier in the field spell. So your deck is like half the time your deck is always going to open a way to play through like interruption, right? I'm doing the Gearfried line, and that's not even including adding in the, you know, like other scenarios and other cards like Connector and stuff like that. So like you just want to capitalize. Kaiju Golem. Ooh, so that sounds just like very bad luck, and that's one thing you can't do. At 40, I think 43 would be worth it, James. I think 43 would be worth it. I personally am at 42, and I don't plan to move forward myself. But I feel like this deck, since you're forced to play like at least like a few equip spells that you don't want to see, like DD, like as good as DDR is, like sometimes, I mean, it's better to see than anything, but you want in deck. I think you could do it. I think you could do it. There's nothing wrong with 43. I don't think there's nothing wrong with like, you know, like if you even want to play 60 card pile, like do you, right? The deck is so consistent that, so essentially the way that I put it, right, the way that I mentally thought about it is I have 2 equip spells I never want to see. And it's DDR and Phoenix Blade. I never want to see those 2 cards, even though seeing DDR is not bad at all. But like at the moment, DDR was, you know, metal silver. So like I never really wanted to see it. It didn't hurt my combo by seeing it, but I just didn't want it. So I played 42. So that means that just kind of like somewhere in my mind, in the math mind, it throws off the ability to see it. I played 50. Oh, there you go, Archangel. Yeah, rock the 50, brother. 50 is a good number. I've been trying hard to get to 40. Had to end up going to 2 Durandal and 2 Heritage. And see, that's where you kind of get rough, right? So like, in order to crush the deck down to 40, you have to cut like consistency cards. And I just don't like that. I would much rather like max out on all the consistency cards. Just my opinion. Like, I think that's just my opinion. In your opinion, is there a matchup that you would watch out for, be cautious about? Yes. I went into the Pearly. Pearly's kind of nuts. Pearly is insane. Kashtira is probably what I'd say. Kashtira and Unchained. To be honest with you, I believe Kashtira with the Walking, a Rise Heart, and Shifter being like their main strategy really hurts our deck naturally, and Unchained just literally our deck. Like Charles is our deck's like Charles is the you know, he's called the Emperor for a reason. Like his strongest effect, like he destroys, right? So he triggers off Unchained stuff. Everything that we play negates and destroys, so it like helps fuel the deck. So I think Unchained is pretty hard. If you're playing Metal Silver Armor, Unchained doesn't stand a chance, to be honest with you. But if you're not playing Metal Silver, it's definitely rough. But those 2 decks are my kind of what I'd say my rush. You guys are gonna like this. So, game 1 against Pearly, I set up my board. I did double Charles, Gearfried, and Isolde was up here, right? He literally, I shit you not, man. He broke it. He went through. He made that Pearly that attacks and then can keep attacking, and he cleared my whole board. The only card I had in my hand was DDR. That's it. I hard opened DDR and I held it just because I didn't want to like blow through it, you know? So I'm sitting there holding it. My turn comes around, or no, he like attacks all these times. He makes a 6 material Zeus. I had Roland, so in phase I got to add, and then I drew for turn. It was just, so my hand was kind of stacked, right? So the first thing I did was I literally did Phoenix Blade, banish Charles, and you guys, if you're OG Infernoble players, you'll remember this kind of play from when like we had Auroradon. You banish Charles plus another card, and then you go DDR, pitching Phoenix Blade, summon back the Charles. Charles will see the equipped DDR, so Charles gets to destroy. So then I did that and got to destroy the Zeus, and he chained to Zeus anyway. And then I just like, sweet, normal summon, and then just went the whole board again, was able to OTK. It is. I haven't lost a tournament with the deck so far. What I believe we have to do is start doing is thinking about the deck more like D-Link. The higher we go, we reduce bricks. I can agree with that. I mean, you play so much consistency and so much searching, you could potentially reach that type of area, right? You could get to that type of like comparison. So guys, I talked to one of my buddies. What do you guys think of me doing an Elden Ring run, but playing as Charles? Like, right? So like the entire thing would be like, I load up Elden Ring, make a character, and we go out and we learn just fire spells and stuff like that. We try to beat Elden Ring as Charles the Great. What do you guys think? It would not be a speed run. Yeah, I agree. 3 ofs in the side deck was like, I'm not going to say like doing 2 ofs was incorrect because it works for my buddy. It worked for my buddies pretty well. But like for the siding patterns that I chose through, like siding out 3 ofs would have been like, and siding in 3 ofs would have been better. Just for me, right? Just for me. Low-key of going first and second turn, I have Hita into Nightmare Phoenix into Access has been fun. Yeah, like there's just so many different routes like you can do. It's actually quite insane. Really dot. See, like, I literally, it's interesting to hear your experience, especially. An Elden Ring Charles. Wouldn't that be awesome? I was thinking about that, you know. I'll have to see if, like, I can stream and do it at the same time. Because I don't know if my setup would be able to handle it. I wouldn't see why not. Like, I'm able to play, like, other games just fine, right? But Elden Ring's kind of extensive. But, see, that's interesting, because the entire tournament, man, I didn't brick once until my last round, where I'll show you the hand. It was Gearfried. I'll show you my, this is, and then it was a side deck card, which we'll just throw in. Where are you at, DDR? That, and then I had Lightning Storm. My hand was literally these 4 cards, Lightning Storm, and I drew a second Lightning Storm, so I still couldn't do nothing. No, excuse me, I drew an evenly with I drew an evenly, not Lightning Storm. I keep mixing the two up. It was double evenly. So I still couldn't do anything. So it's just like, so it's, you know, in a big event, man, it's bound to happen. Like, you know, you are bound to, it's going to happen. Go anime mode and you win normal gear special. Yeah, right? Gearfried special ability triggers. Since you have more monsters than I and I'm at a disadvantage, Gearfried gets a special out for free. Something that I was really excited to see, and I was real happy, is Artorigus and Dempsey staying in. Because I was just too biased to cut the Artorigus, because I love Artorigus, and I like the line that Artorigus does better. And Dempsey, I just fully believe that Dempsey was there to allow me to play through having to use Durandal early and stuff like that. So, like, the fact that my logic came true in this region was pretty nice. I just Book of Eclipse, Bonkers versus Pearly and Good versus Unchained also beats Dark Ruler, because if you activate Gearfried or Synchro Charles while negated, then Chain Eclipse effect still goes through. That is a good point. I like that idea. I was thinking about Book of Eclipse. But I only had access to Book of Moons. So that's the only reason I played them. My poor Pearly guy, man, like... Pearly was like... I was so terrified of Pearly. So we play, we go into round 3, he goes first. It goes, I draw for my turn, I have 2 books in my opening hand in full combo. And I go draw phase. He's like, okay, and I was like, question, when do you get to draw all these cards? He's like, during your standby phase. I was like, huh. So still in draw phase, and I was like, call by Book of Moon. And he's like, all right, and then he chained the trap, and I was like, second Book of Moon. And he's like, man, what the heck? And I was like, not today for you, little doggy. And then he had 1 card in hand, and it was Droll. Like, I literally used Heritage of the Chalice, search out Ogier. And he's like, Droll, and I was like, gotcha. Like, fool, I did my only search I needed. This might be one of those hands, actually, so check this out. Oh, no, see, there we go. So if you normal summon Connector, Connector comes out. If Connector doesn't come out, you literally just go Oliver, pitch here. And then you go off to the races. I definitely believe that, like, if you do get hand trapped on Connector and you have access to Oliver, like, it is better to do Oliver, and it is better to go the Angelica line, because, like, you don't know if they have another hand trap, right? So, like, Angelica's just better protected. You know, like, if they do Ash or Imperm, they'll probably hold it. So it's just better to kind of keep the, you know, play this way, because Angelica can at least, in the worst case scenario, dodge Ash or dodge Imperm. So, like, it's pretty nice. Right, and then you go here, activate the effect. This is the only part. This is like, oh no, you just go ahead and grab Durandal. How do I know most normally, man, like I always go for, well, see, it's kind of like a split in the moment, right? Decision, because normally you go for Isolde depending on the hand you have. It's normally, I don't even know how, man. You just know. You know, the deck, the flame guides you, man. That's the best way to put it. The fire guides you. Because, like, every hand's different, and every hand has its like strengths and weaknesses. Some hands you have to go through, you know, Isolde, and some hands you don't have to be honest with you. But like this hand right here is a prime example. So like I had the option to make Isolde and still combo with Isolde, right? But instead I decided to go this route instead, because if I went into Isolde and with the way my hand was set up, minus this card here, if they hand trapped Isolde, I'd still lose. So this way, they're forced to react here, and then even if they react here, I can still at least get to Charles or something, right? Yeah, Angelica's most normally the safer route because she has the ability to tag out into things. I mean, theoretically speaking, she'll still lose to Ashe just as Isolde will lose to Ashe, but it just allows you to play through like Imperm or Effect Veiler or like Ghost Mourner or something like that. We'll do effect to draw in there, chain her effect, she'll banish. Do we dare send? No, we won't send. Maybe this is where we send here. Send good old Roland. To see how we would play through it. I'll tell you what, King of Nerds, you give me a hand that you want to see, and we will do it. So you go here, right? We can go. So this is just like kind of showing you like. So normally, like Roland will just be plus, but like since we opened Turpin, it's pretty good. Use the effect to grab Renaud. Now shoot, this guy will get banished because of come back from the grave. Go into Chuck, effect of this to attach. Link here into Charles. Charles effect to attach. Museum effect to special. Special, we get to add back a card. But let's just go ahead and add back this. Then we'll go ahead and synchro here for. Angelica does. It depends on. So yes, it does lose Imperm, but like. It's like very much like it loses if you're using the second. It can dodge Imperm just as well. So you know what I mean. Like if the opponent's a good player and they wait for you to activate the second effect, and they Imperm it, then yeah, you just kind of lose. But it's not that big of a like loss. You know what I mean? So like then we can. Banish to summon. And then this can go here. And then this can come back. And you set this. There you go. Connector Ogier Museum Durandal Ashe. Okay. So I don't have Ashe, so I will put I'll put Droll in there instead. But you said Connector, Ogier, Museum, Durandal, and Ashe. Connector, Museum, Durandal, Ogier. Okay, Ogier and Droll. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Doing good, Bruce, doing good. And how do you want, and what's the scenario you want to work through here? Angelica does lose the Imperm, you're absolutely right. But if you have like someone who just like fires off Imperm at the start when you add the field spell, that's why I said it's like very player dependent. Like if they wait for you to use the effect, the second effect of Isolde, they can just, they just smack it down. So that's why I said like like Isolde loses the same way, like kind of like in the way that or did I say Isolde? Angelica loses in the same sense of like Isolde does. To recover Niv from grave. That's yes, you're absolutely Ashe in the second effect of Isolde is the correct play. All right, King of Nerds, you tell me what scenario. Are we getting hit by a hand trap or anything like that? Or are we just free balling it? What's the scenario? Ashen Infinite, and they use them at the best times. Alright, so Ashen Infinite. We'll normal out Connector, and we'll attempt to use Connector's effect. So, do you let Connector go through, or do you hit it here? Do you fire off Imperm? Thank you, my way, Bruce. I just decided to test it. That's really all that it was. Like, I think that Metal Silver definitely like solidifies a win, right? It can solidify like a game state, but it was a much nicer opening DDR because like it just allowed you to do it. Got an Imperm. Sweet. So let's go ahead and we get Imperm. So they still have Ash, right? So Imperm here. We can technically go ahead and fire off Museum and use Museum's first effect. Now, yep, so either they, so okay, so they are kind of incorrect. If you waste Imperm here, we could, we just got to figure out. So are we going to Imperm or going to Ash it? Before I pay 12, we need to know, because if they fire off Ash here, Ash is probably the correct play, because if they keep Ash, they'll lose it, right? Hold Imperm because it can't be discarded. There we go. Perfect. So we'll go by Bert here. So they're going to Ash Connector. Effective Museum. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves. We already opened Durandal, so let's go ahead and grab ourselves Almus. Right? We will go ahead and fire off Durandal, use Durandal's effect. We can grab ourselves Flint Lady. We can then special here. Flint Lady, use Flint Lady's effect tribute. Summon out here. Effect. Now, it's given, you know, right now you don't know. Okay, perfect. So we're all in agreement. Connector gets ashed. Perfect. Summon here. Use the effect here. Now, see, it's different because you gave me the scenario, so I know. But like, if you're truly scared of another hand trap, you try to play the best way possible. So we're gonna send Renaud. Right? We can equip Almus, and then we can go right here for Isolde. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. Chainlink 2 will add us back the Renaud. Isolde will let us add our card, which you can add any Fire Warrior. Right here. So then, do we go ahead and we use Isolde's effect, sending 1? Because there's no point, because we already have a level 4 in the graveyard, we'll send 1. Now, if you see I'm sending 1, are you going to Imperm here? I'll let you guys decide. Because you have Imperm. We still do have the Imperm. And this is where it comes down to players' knowledge and players' thing. Because most of the time, after I added a field, always Imperm. Imperm gets fired off here. We're stuck. We'll go Ogier's effect to attach to the Isolde. Field spell to special. We then special out Renaud. Renaud effect, we'll go ahead and find ourselves and add ourselves back. Field Almus. Then we synchro into Angelica. Yep. So remember, like, just because like we know the correct thing to hit, we gotta take in the steps of like other players too. So normally, they will fire off Isolde because Isolde is too good. Isolde is literally too good. Can you show off the High Lance combo? I can. Yep, after we get done with this, I'll show it off. So you go here, effect here to go ahead and grab yourself another field spell. We'll go ahead and fire off the field spell. Go ahead and pay 12 again. Let's grab Joyous. Just go ahead and get it out from the deck. Yep, so yeah, we are right. Right in the pack in here. So then we'll go ahead and use Divine Sword by banishing 2. Doesn't matter what we banish. We'll go ahead, Divine Sword, effect here. Now here we have only one option actually, and that's to send Turpin. So we send Turpin. This banishes. And here comes out Roland. We then can go ahead and ban. We could technically. Really doesn't matter. We can banish. Ooh, yeah, we can just go ahead and banish 2. You have multiple access, so we'll just do like equipped here. Turpin's effect a special. And then we'll go here for Charles. We'll then just go ahead and equip Joyous. It doesn't really matter. We could just do the Roland, but we'll have to use this regardless. Into Charles number 1. Charles number 1 to attach. Effect of the second skill to special summon. We'll go ahead and use Roland's effect here to attach. Link off here for our second Charles. And then attach here. And there you go. So that is what we were able to do with that hand, assuming they had Ashen and Perm. Now, do we... It's just very much into like the player thing. What happens if you end Perm when you activate Angelic's effect to banish? What's the plan then? So we will rewind all the way up. That's where you can... I think it's rough. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of rough. Probably, if I remember what was it. So we ended up sitting this. We specialed out that. Ooh, they eat that. You got the field spell. I don't think there is a plan. I think in that hand trapping Angelica is the correct play, but you make a card like Isolde first because Isolde demands a response. And like you, and I clearly had, you know, like I would put Droll in there. I had Droll in hand, so I had one unknown card. So they were really putting it on. How do you play when you see Super Poly in hand? You either do plays like double Charles, like sending Renaud over Gearfried. Well played. So Super Poly, you see Super Poly, you can either do like 2 routes. You can either end on double Charles, which means like they can't Super Poly you to like make Garuda, or you end up ending on Goki and Emperor, and just like during the end phase when Angelica returns, you use Charles's effect to use Angelica first to return, then use Charles to equip and pop the Angelica, and then they can't Super Poly you here because the Power Load Ogre is unaffected. Tyr's rough, actually. Tyr's a pretty gas deck. It's actually kind of rough to beat. So, wait a second. So then let's see here. Because if you end up summoning out Ricardetto will bring back the Ogier, right? If they don't Isolde, you make her grab Field Spell, activate her effect. She ends up getting impermed. You then can use this to equip and then special summon out. And then you can search another... I don't think we had access to any tuners in that type of scenario. I do not believe we did. So then you can just go ahead and make the boy towers and hope to God. Make power load and hope to God in that scenario. Hope it's enough. You technically have Ash in hand, so you're all right. But the Lancelin line that someone asked about, it beats through Droll and everything like that too. It's just literally if you open... You can technically use Lancelin line through it all, really. You don't have to use it here. But this line, right, it's just opening Ogier and Renaud, just hard opening these without having to use a search or something like that. Because if you open like Heritage of the Chalice or like Durandal, like you're already going to get Drolled. But if you just open these two, it helps you beat Droll. And you do so by normaling this, sending Gearfried. You special Renaud. Renaud's effect grab back the Gearfried. Synchro for Ignoble of High Lancelin. Lancelin will actually grab you Alamus. Wherever it's at. Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on. There we go. Go ahead and use Alamus's effect to use itself to attach Durandal. You banish Alamus for Gearfried. You then go ahead and use Ogier's effect to equip to the Gearfried. Then you go Durandal's effect, adding yourself the Turpin. Wherever it's at, there we go. Special out Turpin. And there you go. Go full combo from there on, moving forward. Go into Isolde. Isolde, send one, summon back, make Angelica. You're off to the races. And you're protected. You know, if you choose to hit you with Droll and stuff like that, you can do it. But at the point, you know, sometimes this deck plays very well under Droll. So, like, sometimes it's okay to let them Droll you and just save the Gearfried. Angel Ring is going to be nuts. Angel Ring will allow us to literally beat this deck's #1 fear. It'll be insane that this deck will have access to a spell card like that. Be insane. It'll truly be bonkers, the fact that we can negate a spell like such as Dark Ruler and like super, like it's okay, like we can play around Super Poly, play around it, but sometimes we just can't, and sometimes we don't get the ability to see it coming. But then by having access to Angel Ring, by Garrett, by being able to make us, like, we don't even have to see it coming. We just end on Angel Ring and then just wait for them to activate it. Do take note, though, when Angel Ring does come out, you do get the ability to negate a... you do get to negate a very big... so, like, the way it works is if you have Charles out, they go... What is it? Bait spell. You can negate the bait spell with Charles or Baron, and it doesn't touch the Angel Ring. Because Angel Ring will negate on resolution. So as long as you have something that can negate the activations of these cards, Angel Ring does not get the ability to negate. Me too, me too. Oh yeah, it'll definitely come up. But you'll definitely, you already have a card that makes it, you already have a card that, like, makes your stuff untargetable, such as Oliver, so, like, it'll be okay to, like, fire off the what do you call it, the spell negate pretty soon. At least I think so. Just in my opinion. I hope it's an Ultra or something like that. It'll like, work pretty, Ultra or Super. Be pretty nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's best out of one of. Because if you really stop and think about it, like, it's gonna have the same situation that, like, you gotta be a little bit, Charles, my man. Hi, Charles, welcome, man. What's up? You gotta be a little bit more specific. A Dolphin, and you gotta give me, if you just open Dolphin, you literally have to open, like, an extender, such as Durandal, Chalice, anything like that. And that's probably the best extension you got. There was a few times, yesterday at the regionals, I opened Connector plus Dolphin, and I just normal Dolphin, just pitch the Connector to look at the hand. Literally, that's exactly what you hope, just to draw one of your, like, 13 or 15 extenders and hope that it's, and it will get you there. Because you do have, no matter what, if you just open a hand of Dolphin, you ain't comboing regardless, because you need 2 warriors at the minimum to get your combo even going, so, like, you would have to see something else. Where's your shifter now? This might be one of those hands, actually. No. Nothing too crazy, Redgrave. If you check out my deck profile, I changed this, like, if this was, so this right here is Roland's red layer now, or red layer is now Roland. So I guess, like, this is just one of those situations where, like, you can see, like, why, like, red layer would be important. But, like, our hand's kind of cracked. So, like, even if we normal Connector and they try to Ash it, we can imperm it. Or we could call by it. Thank you, my Red Grave. Thank you. Is this your all-time favorite deck, or is there just another contestant? This is probably taken the plate of my all-time favorite, simply just because it's like everything I want in a deck. But if it was like my top... Ooh, if I have like a top 3 decks, it would definitely be Infernoble's Crusadia. Crusadia is what started it all, really. And Satellar Knights. I actually really like Satellar Knights. I haven't even got the ability to test around with all the new stuff that Satellar Knights got. But this deck, hands down, I think is my #1 favorite. Salad. Roast that salad. Roast it. So hey, this is actually one of those hands what I was talking about. So you normal summon connector, look at the hand, go combo, and if they disrupt you, you can banish this to summon out this. And you'd still be okay. Now the only thing you couldn't do, well no, you could, I think you could do it. Yeah, so like in this scenario, you just go ahead and link for, Isolde. Isolde effect to add, you know we're gonna add Roland. They see us Roland, they hatin'. You know what I kind of looked into? I know this is kind of like crazy, but like I looked into like replicas of. So if you guys don't know, Charles's sword Joyous is actually real. It's in a history museum right now. I thought about ordering like a replica. Well, that'd be kind of cool. Roland doesn't search and equip. This Roland does. I just found that out. During the end phase, this card was sent to the graveyard because it was sent there this turn. You could add 1 Fire Warrior monster, except Infernal Knight Roland, or 1 equip spell from your deck to your hand. And then we just do the same combo where we send 1, 2. I think, well, we don't do the same combo. We have to do it differently. 3. Unite Sogol is primarily to make Isolde if Dolphin is the only normal summon. Yes. Yep. Because Dolphin being a level 3, it's your only option, really. We'll go ahead and summon out this guy. This guy will send the Turpin. How do you do 2 Charles without Isolde on field? The Charles pop, you'd use it. You use it on Angelica. I guess I'm not understanding what you mean. Have you had any time problems? My first ever. I've not really had any time problems. Not to be honest with you. That it is scary because we can pay up to like 24 life. Sometimes you can pay up to like 36 life. But most of the times I'm just very conscious of the time and stuff like that. I haven't had it come up yet. I do have like Caliban actually to put in the side, so in case like time does become an issue. But yeah, we're playing through this hand because we can send this. We can banish 2 for Phoenix Blade. We can equip it, special here. Then you can overlay for Arcturgus. See, then Arcturgus gets to grab back 1, 2, 3. We can use Durandal actually to go ahead and add ourselves a Fire Warrior, so we'll go ahead and add Oliver. And then we can go ahead and link off here for technically we could have used, we didn't use Renaud's effect to summon itself, so we still had even combo through this. We didn't even need to do this. I hope so. Pack's first list was kind of rough. His second list was definitely better. You gonna update the Crusadia D-Link deck? Probably not. Probably not. Can you show your extra deck when you get a chance? Oh yeah, my man. Hey, hang on. Let me just finish working through this right here, and we'll get there. So we go Chain Link, 1, since we have a target to summon Chainlink 2 Almas. Almas grabs back. Wait a second. I did something wrong. I think I goofed. I don't know, I was thinking I could grab this back specialist still from the hand. But I've already used its banish effect. Ugh. We still had comp, but it's okay. Yeah, normal. I would say like some of the Angelica lines actually get you to that inboard where you don't have to use Isolde. Right? So like some of your, like, when you're forced to go into Angelica, you don't make Isolde. Here's my extra deck, my man. I'll quickly play it out for you. Double Isolde. Double Emperor. Ferocious Flame. These guys here. Supala, you mentioned you could end on 2 Charles since Garou needs different names. I've tried to get onto 2 Charles, but end up with Isolde on the field as well. Oh, I see what you're saying. It just depends on your extenders in your hand. So, like, it's not really, like, I can't tell you, like, there's a particular, like, your 1-card combo can do it, but if you have, like, additional extenders in your hand, you're able to link up into, like, cards like Power Load Ogre and stuff like that to get, so you don't have to worry about Isolde. If you're being forced with Isolde and stuff like that, and with Charles's, I think that you need to, you gotta think you have to pop. But then, like, Angelica comes back. I don't know, that's why I like the Power Load, but there's these guys. Double Charles, 1 Ignoble, 1 Roland, 1 Angelica, 1 Baron de Fleur, and then last but not least, 1 Arthur and 1 Dempsey. I'm using Dempsey. And my theory behind using Dempsey is in combo sequences where you have to use Durandal, Dempsey allows the combo to go through. There was tons of times yesterday where Artorgus went deeper, and the combo sequencing with Artorgus I prefer over just Dempsey because you get to hold Renaud for later on, which holding Renaud can sometimes like allow you to just like Renaud's such a powerful extender, specialing itself and grabbing something back, so like you can grab something like DDR later on the combo and stuff. So like that's my theory. I think Artorgus is the better standard combo sequence, but I think that Battle Box or Dempsey is a fantastic card. I mean, and it's like if you end up using Durandal early, you can still combo with Dempsey. It's just an alternate that I think is pretty good. Dempsey over Baron? No, Baron's still in here. Yeah, Dempsey's the... Oh, no, Dempsey is the one over Baron, yeah. Yeah, Dempsey's the one over Baron. And like I said, I think that in sequencing or lines where you're forced to use Durandal, like to grab Flint Lady or to grab an extender, you can't use Artorgus line because you do the same old line, and when you get to Artorgus Equip 3, you can't use Durandal again to add Ricardetto. So then you just go Dempsey, add the... Renaud, and then you do that line, which is not my favorite line because Renaud is such a powerful card to use later on in the combo versus using it at the beginning, but it's still like at least you still get combo versus just sitting there with Artorgus and Isolde. But a lot of times, man, like, normally in testing, I end on Retin a lot, but when I was at that regional, man, like, I was like, kind of scared. I was like, oh, God, wait a minute, I don't know what I'm playing against. What if it's, what if it's something that has Super Poly or it's something, else? So I'd always, like, link Retin off into Goki, just out of fear, for some reason. There's very few games where I left I think the few games I left Retin out was because I had to leave him out. Most of the times when I could get up to Goki, I'd get up to Goki because my inboards would be, like, Power Load, Charles and Gearfried, where normally, it'd be like Retin, Charles, Gearfried. I would just link up into Goki and just be like, I hope this is good enough. And 9 times out of 10, it is good enough. Charles, like, the fact that Charles has 2 disruptions on himself is kind of insane. Kind of nuts. And then, of course, going second against, like, a back row deck, you could do Artorgus and then, like, pop a bunch of cards, which is pretty nice. What would you play instead of Baron? I'm broke. Oh, Baron's a rough one, man. Baron is a really rough one because I don't think there's any other level 10 warrior that you could potentially make that just, like, is so good. Oh, right here. Goki the Power Load Ogre. How can Retin be used as material for Super Poly? That's a good question. I don't know what people... I'm sure there's a way. I would just rather cover my bases and make whatchamacallit. Because even that, like, this card's sticking around, and then the next turn you're just popping 4. Like, yeah, like, Retin gets to pop you 1, but, like, if your CPU's probably, like... They can't Super Poly, yes, so then they just do their stuff, and then the next turn Goki will tribute and pop up to 4 cards, which is pretty crazy. There was one time that I messed up. I got ahead of myself, and I had Renaud in hand, and I went ahead and linked away my Dempsey and my Isolde, and I almost made Retin. I was like, wait a minute. I had to stop there. I was like, I have to make Ferocious if I want to play because I need a Fire Warrior. So I ended up making Ferocious instead. But if you get like nibbed or something like that, it's sometimes you just take the nib token plus an extender, make Ferocious, and then like an extender, and then you can make Isolde that way. It's pretty cool. I see Liz with Appaloosa. You make it on the 6th summon with Connector plus Renaud. Summon Connector plus Dolphin and check the hand for Nibiru, then Isolde. Summon Ogier, dump Ricardetto. How are you? So you dump Ricardetto and DDR along with Blade. How? So, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Dump Ricardetto. But what is that? Let's work it real quick. Let's work it because I don't see the line, so we gotta run it. Then summon Renaud. So, So what you're telling me, Flager, is that you look at the hand, you see Nib, right? I mean, I still kind of like that in a way, because it's like means if they don't have Nib, they don't have any disruption. You're ending on Appaloosa on top of everything else, before you even get Warrior locked. Then some Renaud add DDR, and if they don't Nib, you make Appaloosa. So but also what I don't like is if they do have Nib, you're pretty much hoping that they see the monsters there and don't do nothing. They're just waiting. I wonder. Let's check something real quick. Let's see. So it's these two right here, right? Let's run it through. And we'll put our good old Lord of the Rings dice right here. Normal summon. There's one summon. Summon out Dolphin. There's two. I want to try some. There's two summons. You see Gearfried, or you see Gearfried. You see the impending doom of Rock. So we make here. Right? Go here. Here's a third summon. Effect, you got to send 4. So you send 1. 2. 3 and 4. Summon out Ogier. And you said you'd send Ricardetto, right? But I don't think... So then this is our 4th summon. I think you send Gearfried. Let me explain to you why you'd send Gearfried here. Because what you're saying, right, is that on that summon, if they don't nib you, you don't get it, right? This is with this line you end with Emperor. So I kind of agree with Bert. Why wouldn't they nib you on this, like on your 5th summon? But this, so check this. So this is our 4th summon. We special here. Here's our 5th summon. We can add back Gearfried. And then we get smacked with the Rock. Right? Well, I guess technically it doesn't truly matter. I was foreseeing something that I guess was not there. At least, like, this line gets you to Gearfried at least, right? trying to think. Yeah, I see the line. I think the line would be cool if they didn't have nib. Like that sounds pretty cool. It sounds pretty cool. Cool if I see what you're talking about, Flager. Like I would literally do the same thing you did, but there's like what world? Like I see like if you don't get nib, but why wouldn't you get nibbed? Right? So like if they don't nib you here, right? Like in the same scenario, you just make Apollousa, and then they can't nib you. It's almost the same situation here, whereas like if you grab back Gearfried, and if they don't nib you with the Gearfried, they lose it, right? So now I actually do think there are lines that get you to Apollousa before your 5th. I feel like there is. I feel like someone's brought it up before. Sending Richard is correct. Most convinced. Why would we send Richard instead of Gearfried? Especially in that scenario. Oh, never mind. I see why. I see why. Hold up. You are stupid question. So we get to here. Let's just go ahead and go back to this point here. So you send the Richard. Instead of Gearfried, you send Richard. And then you summon Renaud. Use Renaud's effect to grab back DDR. That's the 5th summon. We eat nib. Because if they don't nib us here, like you're saying, Flaggers, or we could go into Apollousa, then it's like GG, like our combo's protected moving forward. But I just don't see a world where anyone just... Most of the time, people fire off and hit you with a nib on your 5th summon. They don't care what you're playing. 5 summons, you're good. And then you just banish like any 2 warriors, and then you DDR back Richard, and then bring back Ogier, and then here's combo right here. So this allows you to beat the... I see it now. That's pretty cool. And it just makes the board also a little bit... Yeah. Yep, there we go. I see it now. Yep, I see what you're saying now. I think I agree with Bert too. I think that's actually pretty cool. I like that. That's actually insanely genius, Flager, because some people have always asked me, what do you do if you see Nib in the hand and you can't get Gearfried out in time? So this is like a perfect sequencing to play through Nibiru. And again, you know, it's like, it's very, what's the correct term? There's a type of term for it, right? It's very like subjective, because it means like this combo only works if you don't play, if they Nib you on the 5th summon, right? So it's very much, like I said, it's very subjective to like the opponents a bit like wanting to play it. But if we even do like any normal player, I'd even fire off Nib. I ain't gonna lie, man. You'd still get nibbed. Yeah, like, even if you send Gearfried, like so I think this is better. I think you're totally correct with this line. You send Gearfried instead, 5th summon, get nibbed, you have that Gearfried, special Gearfried, then you have Gearfried through it all. But I think this is better, because you still eat the nib, but you're still able to go into Angelica. Angelica adds the field. You're able to dump, make it like double Charles, and through a nib, which is still pretty crazy. That's actually pretty crossed out in Infernals is so nice. I'm not a fan of it personally. I think it just requires... I think if you could find a way to fit 3 in while keeping your same... well, you definitely could find a way to fit 3 in. You definitely have the space. Like, even if you play in like 9 flex cards like I play, 3 crossout go in, then you have the ability to play like Ashe in perm. You know, like you have plenty of space to do it. About double DDR. I have not seen the need for double DDR. Yeah, you honestly could play, yeah. Do the 2-of theory. I know a lot of Synchron players do that, the 2-of theory, but I don't like 2-ofs. Yeah, Flager, I'll give you that, man. I'll give you that. I actually prefer this. This is actually pretty cool. I now have an answer that I can tell people that when they ask like, what do you do when you see Nib in the hand? I actually like it. I like it a lot, actually. Appreciate that. I don't know about Apollousa because, like I said, you're always going to get hit on your 5th, so it might not even be worth keeping it in there. Even plus Gearfried, because Museum can add Joyous and Angie. Can send the Gearfried. Whoa. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Make that. Add that. equipped. Don't use her effect. Chain, add back Gearfried. Dump. And then you haven't used Museum's effect special. You equipped Ogier, special, Charles, Gearfried. Yeah. Actually, you know, we're going to rocket through that. I want to go to the very end of that. We're going to play through Nib. So let's see. So this is our hand. Normal, effect. Summon out Dolphin. Wherever you are. We're going to pitch a card, look at the hand. We see Nib. So we hit another card in their hand. So they're down one. So let's see. This is going to be instead keeping track of their hand. So they have 4 cards in hand. We then can go here for Isolde. Isolde's effect, we'll go ahead and add ourselves. Roland. Effect, send 4. Send 1. Send 2. Well, see, like, if you're sending 4, you normally send Joyous, but I think that if you... So, you know Nib's there, so this time you would send Almus instead. No, you can send Joyous, actually, because I think Almus grabs back from the grave, too. Yeah, so you can still do the same stuff. Come on, Durandal, where you be? Send 4. Summon here. Effect to send Ricardetto. Special Renaud. Renaud effect add back DDR, and we get smacked with Nib. Hit with Nib. Right here, banish 2. DDR back Ricardetto. Ricardetto brings back the Ogier. Go here for Angelica. Angelica will grab us the field. This has fallen off. Activate the field, grab this. Use Almus to go ahead and grab. Does this attach? You can equip one of one equip spell from your deck or graveyard, except. Or we can hold it. If the card's at the graveyard, you can add one of your fire warriors banished from your graveyard. But Joyous can. I think we can equip it to the Nib token, right? You control, yeah. So we can just go here, equip it to the Nib token, and then DDR again for this. Fire off Phoenix Blade, target her effect, send the Gearfried. Banish. Summon. Effective Joyous to get it out of the way, to go ahead and add back Gearfried. Effective Ogier to equip. Effective Museum to special. We make Chuck. Effective Roland to attach. Just go ahead and link down here for Charles. Technically, they should have 3 cards in their hand too because they nibbed us. And that nib's going to serve no value after this point here. Then we just go Gearfried effect, banish. Yeah. Sweetness. Sweetness, sweeting. Sweetness. What is the ceiling of the deck post banless, assuming Cash gets hit? They bring Pearly down. Tier 1, tier 1.5. I actually think that this deck will probably stay pretty much where it's at. I think that a lot of people respect it, and I think that Mana Diem is going to take the spotlight because it's getting some insane support. Personally, I think that's what's going to happen is Mana Diem will take the spotlight. Assuming you don't run Apo, the optimal point of the nib would be when you try to use Joyous. That way they can prevent Gearfried add back, but they can never prevent Charles. Do you have a new deck profile? Because I'm using your last one. I do. I actually uploaded a new deck profile, I think, yesterday for my regional list. I did. This is the same list, but right here. You're correct, Bert. I mean, if they hold Nib that long, right, then, yeah, if they hold Nib that long, that is where they punish you. But I don't see, like, man, the deck has such, like, intricate plays. Like, even if you play a mirror match and you're playing against someone, right, like, Nib and, like, Dark Ruler and stuff like that have, like, these effects on people where they, like, once they think they resolve, they're in a good standpoint. So, like, they just have Nib, they wait till that 5th summon, they hit it, and their confidence is boosted, and then you just literally shatter their confidence by going here. And, like, we're gonna pop the Nib token with Charles anyway, so, like, then we could actually even get a draw 1 if we wanted to. Like, in-phase comes around, we can grab this. Most normally, I'd go ahead and equip Ogier, or Oliver, excuse me, so they can't just fire off in-perm on this on frame 1. So I just go ahead and equip Oliver. But if you wanted to, and you could equip the Malgus, and then during their turn, whenever they do anything, you can negate and send and then draw 1, which would be not too shabby. I actually think I'm going to turn this into a video. I think that this is what I think that Flager showed me that I think that, because you don't know how many people have asked me. They're like, what happens when you see Nib? And they're like, can you get to Gearfried? Oh, you can't get to Gearfried? What do we do? I was like, you smell what the rock is cooking. That's what you do. But actually seeing this is awesome. I actually really like that. I like that now. I like that if you see Nib, you have like because you know that you have a combo sequence to play through the Nib. They don't. Yep. Well, so here's the thing, right? Is like, to any other average Joe player, like, look at me, man. Like, look at me before I was able to figure this out. I was just gonna make Gearfried and pass. That was my plan. So I was gonna do Gearfried and pass. So they know they're technically hitting correctly. They just don't know it, and it's bent on the player's knowledge of how they do it, right? So truly, it's dependent on the player. I feel like it's truly dependent on the player. Because like I said, I didn't know about sending Ricardetto. I thought sending Gearfried was the better option. And then my turn would have ended on just Gearfried, right? And a Nib there that's going to be able to stare down Gearfried. Well, now my turn literally ends on Charles and Gearfried with the Nib token, with Nib gone. So, like, I truly, yeah, the opponent don't, I mean, in their mind and in all normal sense of rationality, they are correct to Nib on the 5th, because most decks, if you get hit on the 5th, if you don't put anything up, they're gonna, like, it's gonna be rough. So in reality, they did Nib correctly. It's just you knew more than what they knew, kinda. And especially since you knew the Nib was coming, it allowed you to adjust your plays, which again, why you should play Connector. Another reason 1-on-1 to play Connector. I don't see you winning playing Spar that way, or Uppercut. You play Uppercut, you're done for. Because the deck is classy. I'm totally blown away. I like it. I like that sequence. That will become a video. Flager, I will do my best to remember to tag you in that, or to give you credit, because I actually like that. That's insane. New video. Thank you. You're the bomb. I'm still blown away. They never will. They never will smell the DDR play and go, "Ha! You summoned 5 times, you fool!" And then you're sitting there, right? You're like, "Oh, call an ambulance, but not for me." and then you smack them with combo. You need to run Apollousa in case they don't nib on the 5th. You also end up on Apollousa and 2 Charles. I mean, I guess in that argument right there, you are correct. Mario, I'd say Alstealth was worth running. I don't see a need for it, but that doesn't mean it's not a good card. If you want to play it, you go right ahead. I see in your argument, Flager, where if they do not nib you on the 5th summon, which is, I'm going to be very honest, it's very unlikely for them not to do, you need to have that next move into it. Otherwise, you're still going to lose to the same thing. I have a YouTube channel up for One Piece. One Piece, my man. Bro, so I literally heard like this quote this last weekend. It was called Beat Loud Heartbeat. And I was like, dang, I like that. I was like, I want to get a tattoo of that. And you know where it's from? One Piece. So, and I've never even seen One Piece. I had to look it up. It's from Luffy's Gear 5. And it's like, the artwork is like insane. He just like, he's tapping, he's like beats his heart. He's like beat loud heartbeat. And I was like, I like that. But I'm not a One Piece fan, and I'm not gonna. Just dueled Makanko. Alright, let's just say the Infernobles reign supreme. I was about to say, did they steal your stuff? Bro, the only deck like I left being more scared of was 100% scared of what do you call it? Chimera, Brandon Chimera. Bro, I tried dropping Judgment for Forbidden Lenses, more versatile and accomplishes the same thing. Say what? So I guess so the way that I play Judgment is to stop Dark Ruler no more, right? So I assume you're targeting Charles with Lance, right? That's the plan, is so they go Dark Ruler and you swing down a Lance on Charles, and then like they negate your Gear Freed and stuff with that. This is 42 with 2 Gear Freeds. Mario. It's a Mario. Let's go. I agree. Fun fact, gentlemen. It also beats Pearly. So arguably, wouldn't also Judgment beat Pearly as well? Like, I see the logic. I do. I see the logic. But I don't know if I would like... I don't know if I personally want to give up my whole board just to, like... I mean, Charles is a powerhouse, don't get me wrong. Like, you Lance Charles, and then, like, your Gear Freeze and everything else gets negated. But, like... I don't know if I want to risk that. Because, like, some decks can play through. I mean, to be honest with you, my man, I don't think there's a wrong answer with playing. I think that you need to play at least, I think personally, Droll is probably one of the strongest hand traps of the format. But I feel like maybe trying to play Book of Eclipse in the main deck would not be a bad idea. I just prefer having a card like, I mean, technically you don't have to play Imperm. You could, in my list, technically I could play Book of Eclipse. I'm calling it now, boys, and hopefully I'll be right, but I think we might finally get this card a super rare in the OTS. I am hoping we get this card a super rare in the OTS. Send your emails now. Send them now, but I'm calling it. I'd say Book of Eclipse is worth in the main. If you're locals, or if you're, if you're very fearful of the Kashtira and the Pearly matchup, which I was very scared of those matchups, Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse does a phenomenal job of solving those. Yeah, it's just kind of like it's just a tech choice, you know. Like eventually, probably, arguably, like there'll be a format where Book of Eclipse and Book of Moon are not that necessary, and then you have like the 4 spots, and you're like in this hero and this and Steretz's deck, like you have 4 spots that you can just freely play whatever you want with it. Good for you, Allie. Good for you. The deck is good. Like, the deck is very good, which scares me to a little bit, because either the decks are going to have to start putting out is going to have to be significantly better, or this deck's going to be propelled forward and be getting hit. Or maybe this deck gets, like, the Sword Soul treatment, where, like, it's just, like, inherently, like, what it puts out is good and it's consistent, but it's not, it's fair comparatively to, like, other decks they put out. Because let's see... Brother, I'm still if I'm playing Lance, I'm still siding 3 Lances. So like for me it wouldn't, but I see the logic there. It might be like I'm good. Like I can test it. Like it definitely doesn't. That's pretty much what I'd be doing now. You're playing Axe of Fools. You fool, you're playing Axe of Fools. That's great. It just makes me wonder, like, like, this deck is really good, so it's like, if they end up hitting stuff, like, what's gonna be, like, if they end up hitting Cash and Pearly, what's the next best decks, right? So it's like, whatever's beneath them. Angie is bonkers. It would definitely hurt the engine of the deck a little bit better, like, they won't touch his old, man. And the reason I say they won't touch his old is because literally the time to touch his old was way back in the day when the deck was like, it was like Dark Warrior Turbo. I don't think Isolde in its sense is like pretty fair. Like if you really think about it to its core, like it doesn't say just summon from the deck from free. It says dump 4 equip spells that may or may not kind of cause inconsistency issues to your deck. Add a monster, cool, but you can't use or summon the monster for a whole turn. Versus like something like Hulk, you know, it talks like bring out from the deck. Oh, Angel Ring will put the deck up for sure. My man Archangel, you got me thinking. That's pretty smart. Pretty smart. You got me thinking, Angel. You got me thinking. You got me thinking. Exactly. Like it has really mellowed out, which is compared since its release, it's really kind of come a long way. But I think the way they'll touch this deck, personally, and it's only because I say they're going to touch it, is because they have a card coming out that's going to replace it, is they're going to touch Phoenix Blade. I think they'll touch Phoenix Blade. They'll go ahead and get rid of Phoenix Blade. Not because it's insane, right? But because of the new card coming out that they need to just kind of force. So never actually typed here, but stopped playing like 5 years ago and recently catched up to it again. I started to watch your videos a month ago, following the Epic of Charles to polish this deck. Well, man, welcome back to the game. Happy to have you part of the family. And man, I really had to stop and write this down and thank you because you made me like Yu-Gi-Oh again in there. Oh man, appreciate that, my man Christian. I appreciate that. Bring a tear to my eyes. But I am real happy, man, that you've been able to come back to the game and find joy in it, because I know some players don't find joy in it, and I'm really happy you were able to. Sometimes, man, it just takes a deck that you enjoy, a deck that truly brings your love, win or lose, like a deck that you just enjoy playing. So I mean, like that is truly, for me, that I mean, like, so I can tell you guys the Yugi stories of a long time ago. It's a free extender. Charles, I disappointed you. I had to decide between Hero and my Infernoble deck, and I chose Heroes for Hero. For Infernoble, 2 weeks testing was not enough for me. Still, hey man, that's fine. You don't disappoint me. Play what you're comfortable with. I'd rather, yeah. So like, yeah, I'd rather, and I think a lot of people like just not with Infernoble, with like very combo-centric decks, right? They pick them up, they test a little bit, they go to event, they get clapped because there are certain interactions and stuff you're not used to. And then they blame the deck. So I think that it was smart for you to play a deck you were familiar with instead. I just think Blade Stays, like, is old. It's time to ban. Has passed. It also won't impede anyone buying Phoenix Gear Blade. I mean, there's a world where we won't touch anything. I mean, honestly, like, the deck in its sense is still fair. The deck still has 2 bottleneck choke points that, as long as your opponent, like, the plethora of hand traps in the game, can still easily stop. So, like, it might be, you know, it honestly might never get touched. But yeah, you just gotta find a deck that resonates with you, that win or lose. It does not matter, you know, like, you enjoy playing the deck. Crusadia Guard Dragon was my vibe, man. I love that deck. Like, I truly spent equal to, if not just slightly less more hours innovating that deck than I have with this deck. Well, they won't touch anything this list. That's insane to do anything this list. It's like the coming list. Once they hit the top decks, like, this deck does have potential high enough ceiling that it could become one of the top decks, depending on what Konami decides to release and bring back. Ace, how you doing, my man? Welcome. So yeah, the deck is definitely not top tier. Right now, totally fair. The deck won't see. The deck maybe might get a regional win. I think it's on the very, yes, Stairs remembers the days of Dwesvoot. Maybe we call it Charlemagne Voot, excuse me. Charlemagne Voot. He wills it. Charles wills it. I'm still not a fan of it, personally. Not a fan of double rolling, but that doesn't mean, like, it's, like I said, that does not mean it's not a good combo and it's just not part of me, right? Not gonna lie, picking the deck that fits you in the hardest part in Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, I got you, Iceman. All right, I got you. Thank you for reminding me. It is really hard, man, because, like, there'll be so many cool decks, like Trickstars, okay? Like, Guilty Play, like, totally, this is a sin, you can say whatever it is. I enjoyed the way that Trickstars play, but I didn't like their artwork. I thought, you know, normal summon, you could tag out, like, you know, back and forth. I thought that was crazy. I thought that was such a cool interaction. I was like, I want that. But I didn't like the artwork. And then you get some, like, really cool decks. Like, here's coming out that new Centurion archetype. I'm like, dang, I like the artwork, but I don't like the play style. That's why I'm very, very pleased with Infernoble, because Infernoble, I like the artwork. I love the lore. My name's on a card, and I enjoy the play style. So it's like, I couldn't ask for a better deck. And that's probably the issue, right? Is like, so you have a lot of these, like, very competitive players, like Pac and some other, you know, I'm trying to think of, like, Joshua Smith and stuff like that. Pac's probably the best one, in my opinion, because he plays a bunch of different decks. He's not, and my issue is I'm a main decker. I have an issue of picking up a deck and sticking with it till I know it's like by science. So that's my issue, really. Like, especially if I want to become, like, a really, I mean, like, there's some, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Channels that do very well that are just single decks, like Rogue Hero. He just plays Hero. He's about, I think, the only one I know. D-Time is a Hero player. They just capitalize on Hero and stuff like that. I still know how to play Infernoble, cool, but then I order the cards and I love it. RR makes 99% of the fun. It does. It really does. Traptrix brought me back into the game and I love the deck, but I wanted to improve my style of play, so I learned Infernoble from you. Well, my man, yeah. I appreciate that. I'm glad Traptrix was able to bring you back in the game. I know Traptrix was a crazy structure deck. That was a really crazy structure deck. Konami's been killing it with structure decks, though. I tell you what. They've been really slaying with the structure decks. Good for them. I'm going to say something, man, and I know someone, if he's listening, he'll chime in, but the World Legacy storyline needs new support. Bring it in, man. Give Orcus, give Crawler, give World Chalice, give Crusadia. Maybe touch Guard Dragon and give him something cool. Mech Knights. Give that deck, give all those stories one more wave of stuff, man. From Disaster of Ruler. Sweet. Dragons. I'm actually, so fun fact, I enjoy the Dragon Rulers a lot. Like, I played a game a long time ago, before the Dragon Rulers got banned when they were in full power. And I enjoy that deck. I was like, wow, if they brought this deck back, like, you could do so much stuff with this deck. It'd be so cool to see what you could do with it. And they released that card. We haven't got the effect yet, but it's an XYZ. So there's a good chance they might be releasing all the Dragon Rulers. So your boy's going to buy Blaster and The Tornado guy. Everyone but Mech Knights. Best artwork, and I love Crusadia. I feel that, man. I feel that. Hey, man, no. You don't want to be a main decker, man. It's rough. Yes, Leezus, my man. The deck that literally molded me to be what I was, to what I am now as a player. Oh yeah, this deck, Inferno was a solid deck to take. I think if you look at the lists currently, there's a lot of them topping. The deck is very, the deck is very good. And I think this is the only deck that allows us to, like, they are cards that are banned. Red Lotus, that lets us look at the hand, right? And we literally get to play a main deck card that lets us look at the hand. Like, that's what kind of gives the deck the advantage, I think. I think that's what gives this deck a huge advantage, is being able to play cards like Dolphin. There's a deck out. Buster Blader, that'd be a good one. That would be good. It's just kind of interesting, man. They kind of fell off, like... So out of all the dual terminal and all the storylines they've done, Fallen Albaz went on way too long. Like, I want to go choke out Konami for that. They are literally so much cooler decks that their storyline finished and they stopped, and they just literally kept going with flipping Albaz. And it was just ridiculous. Like, and put that energy into some older archetypes and make them viable. Come on. Not really, to be honest with you. I don't see, like, familiarity too much. How do you deal with not having hand traps? Game feels weird without them. I play hand traps. I do play hand traps. I moved away from... I was talked into it. I play Droll and Imperm. Those are my 6 hand traps of choice. It's funny, a lot of people play top tier but don't enjoy that. I love competing with Rogue Deck. Stardust Synchro is pretty fun too. My buddy actually that went to the regionals with us, he went 5-2 with me. He played Synchron. He bubbled out sadly. But he was wrecking it all day. Like, that deck is also kind of insane. That deck is also very pilot depending as well. Good Fire Fist support. Fire Fists are still pretty crazy. I love the deck can go like plus 20 to end on just a monster negate and a spell and trap negate. But that's the thing with Fire Fist, man. You're doing that to confuse them. You want them to see all the advantage you got, and then they're like, oh no, what are we gonna do? Little they know, all these continuous spells aren't doing anything. So, but there's just so much old stuff. And they just kept dragging that Albaz story on and on and on. Heck, I think they even ended the damn Visa Starfrost, the Visa Starfrost stuff. Oh, shoot, guys, that's right. Think any integration with Ash should be viable. You could play Ash instead of Droll. You really could. Most decks can play through a single Ash, right? Unless you're branded. But so here's the thing, right? It's branded Chimera, which is like the most popular variant of that deck. Is if you Ash Branded Fusion, they just do the Chimera stuff anyway. So it makes Ash very less impactful. I'd much rather have Droll, which literally says, like, stop your whole turn. So... Bro, no, you are Elio. Emperor Charles the Great is the strongest Link 1 in the game. It's a fact. It is the strongest Link 1 in the game. But speaking of that, I literally heard about a video. We're talking about Visa Starfrost, right? Like, Visa Starfrost's lore ended, I think, before we've even got to, like, Branded still going on with Visa lore. I heard there's a YouTube video. That there is a YouTube video, and it's supposed to be, like, this super weird deck profile. And it's supposed to be, like... It's supposed to be super strange. And it has, like, and it's like when, from what my buddy was telling me, is like when he goes, and I play, like, Visa Starfrost, there's, like, everybody in the room goes, Visa Star, and I wanted to find it. Oh, God, what is it? I gotta, there's a Yu-Gi-Oh! National deck list, I think? I know the thumbnail. Let's just find it. See if we can find it. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? There's a Dark Law line. What? I know for a fact. Has anyone seen the video? If someone can help me find the video. There's the hero video, right? There's the hero video. That's really good. But this video, God almighty, I can't remember. It takes place in a hotel room too. It's just, it's entirely like a strange video, man. Flager, my man. All right, we're gonna search it up. Okay, let's go ahead and go here to gaming. There we go. Okay, so, all right, we're gonna find it. We're gonna find it. Let's see here. We'll see if we can find it. Top 32, you said, right? We found it. We found it. We found it. We found it, chat. We found it. Here it is. Oh my God.
Hello, YouTube. Here we have Daniel Ramirez. What'd you do and what'd you play?
Oreos?
I got top 32 with Super Heavy Samurai.
Oh, shit, to the deck.
Yeah, so I played 3 Wakashi, 3 Bai.
I'm kind of upset. This ain't even like...
Piercer,
so it's not even Visa
Skills,
Starfrost.
1 Soul Gaia.
What the There's so many questions I have. Why is the Book of Mormon on his crotch?
This stuck in my hand all weekend.
Why is there Oreos over his, like...
Played 1 Regulus, 1 Visa Starfrost.
Visa Starfrost.
I played...
Oh my God. What?
1 Visa Starfrost.
Visa Starfrost.
How many people are in this room? How many people are in? What in the? I'm confused. So many questions. So many questions. Very cringe. But tell me, have you seen a profile like this ever? The Book of... What the... Why? I just want to know the conversation, right? What conversation? Hey, I know you just topped at Nationals. Let's do a deck profile. But hey, let's make you the playmat. Let's make you the playmat. And, bro, you played Visa Starfrost? And then you have like a whole bunch of people like, I like Visa Starfrost. So like there's probably random people in the hotel room. And then just, it's just like they don't even have a plan. They just know when Visa Starfrost touches down, they go, Visa. I'll put the link. Let's see here. Copy. I never want to again, bro. I don't. Just shoot me a message over Discord, my man. I'll get it to you, so that way we don't have to make everyone see it. My friend worships Visa. I think I saw Farfa, right? Farfa was like, this deck's a cult. Is that like? I wonder if that's what his video. I never watch. I don't pay too much. I don't watch Varsha. I don't watch Farfa a lot. But I remember him saying something. It had like Visa over Jesus. So I use a Red Dragon. I actually bought this thinking it was like one of the, like just a cheap brand off of Amazon a couple years ago, and it's actually not cheap. It's a pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, just shoot me a. I am not Rika. I read Red Grave, excuse me. I saw Ika and I saw Rika. I'm not red. I ended up. It's good. Don't get me wrong. And when you can pull it off, it's fantastic. It's arguably it'll be better when Age Ring comes out. But I just found it kind of like chunky, right? Like not entirely like what you should be like. There's better cards to side. I felt like, but so many questions. Wait a minute. Hold up. I literally was just in Utah. Utah is known for Mormonism. Is there like a Visa Starfrost Mormon cult that I didn't know about? Were we playing among a cult while we were down in Salt Lake City? Who knows? I'm still blown away, guys. Like, that's insane. Who thought about this? Like, what was the conversation? Adios mios is all I gotta say. Yeah, I think that's hilarious. That just blows me away that they actually... You would never catch me doing that. You would never catch me doing that. No way. Now, you know what? I would probably... I think I've done it before. I have a replica of a Crusader helmet, a bucket helmet. I just have it like right over here. Like maybe you'd catch me, like maybe I do like a profile on that, like right? Like I'd do that. I'd do maybe like some goofy skit, you know? But God, you wouldn't catch me just... different strokes for different folks, I reckon, right? So anyway, chat. I'm gonna investigate, I'm gonna do some research on Elden Ring. I already have like a playthrough, so I have to do like a new playthrough, but I gotta look at all the fire stuff they have in Elden Ring, and then I think we'll start doing a Charles the Great versus Elden Ring. And I'll just go through and try to build a Charles the Great like character in Elden Ring. And then I have a buddy called David. He's been a good friend of mine forever. He got me into Elden Ring, so we'll play like seamless co-op, which means like we can play together. Do what? Are you in reference to like what I'm just talking, like the Elden Ring playthrough, or like the entire like do a profile with my helmet on, or like make it look like... I need more clarification. Evolution. But anyway, Elden Ring, right? Playthrough. My buddy plays seamless co-op. I could have him chime in, and he could help me, right? And we could like build this, and we could beat Elden Ring as Charles the Great. They have never been a game that has made me want to kick my chair and just go in my living room and cry than Elden Ring. I think I spent a total like 12 hours trying to beat one boss. The profile with the hat on. Oh, so I have a replica here. I'll show you guys. I even have a sword somewhere, but I gotta get it kind of... I got to find a place for it. Like I want to buy like a stand and stuff like that. But yeah, I have like a replica Crusader helmet. Like you can wear it, and it's I don't know how functional it is. Like I haven't really taken a sword or a spear to the face, but I can definitely tell you that an arrow could slip through here. But I would do this. I would give you guys a profile with this on before you'd catch me doing what they did. Your friend should do an Artorias build and 2 Kings versus Elden Ring. Bro, so he knows nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh, right? He's just a really good buddy of mine. But, now bear with me. I'll get him in a Discord call, and I'll send him pictures and stuff. That is actually crazy. That would be like a good, like, series to do, right? And then I can, like, do it by myself, and then whenever I need backup, call in Artorias, and then we can both just end up getting our cheeks clapped and bent over, and then we both can go cry in the living room after we get bodied by the bosses. But, yeah, so I have the helmet. I have a helmet. I have my sword's in my closet back there. And I'd like to just, I'd like to, for those of you who don't know, like this is my new studio, right? This is what I do anything. I just got a shelf the other day. What was the profile you watched? Bro, it was a Super Heavy Samurai profile. And they literally had the guy laying on the bed shirtless with Oreos over his nipples, a Book of Mormon on his crotch, and so many other things to ask about. But when they got to Visa Starfrost, like 13 people in the room just said, Visa Starfrost. Bro, the boss activates shifter. That would be awful. I'd kick my chair. I would demolish my chair. You couldn't stop me. But yeah, I think that'd be kind of crazy. I'll talk to my buddy about it a little bit more. I think that'd be kind of fun to watch. I know that some other streamers like venture off and do stuff like that, and I'm willing to try it, man. I'm willing to try it. Yeah, evolution, my face, exactly. In fact, here you go. I will actually drop it in the chat here. Go check it out. There, you got it. I read your mind, Evolution. I read your mind. But I'm a nerd, man. I like Lord of the Rings. I like The Witcher. I like Chronicles of Narnia. I like all that stuff. And I need to decorate. My walls are pretty white and bland. So I definitely need to get something to hang up, like my Templar sword. And I do have a... so I went through the Freemasons and I got knighted as a Templar. So I do have like a ceremonial sword from them that I want to hang on the wall and stuff like that. I want to put some lights behind me back here and just kind of make the backdrop seem a little bit more like nice. But all in due time. Bro, you're fine. Ask me. That's why I do this, is so like people can ask questions and I can communicate. Sorry for so many questions, but on your deck profile you said you had 9 cards you could side out. You mind telling me what's your opinion and what cards you'd possibly switch? So my 9 side out cards, I normally have the 2 tactics and the call by, the 3 droll and 3 imperm, and all right, sorry guys. There's a squirrel that harasses my dogs. And so anyway, I side out the 2 tactics, call by, the imperm, and the droll. And now droll is very like there's certain like droll. All these cards are flexible, right? Droll and imperm are flexible depending on your matchup. I side out normally 3 of. So like if I know I'm going first, right, I'll take out like maybe imperm, right? Or I'll do because imperm's good, but if my thought process is I'd rather see Solemn Judgment over imperm, right? If I'm going, I know it's kind of like controversial, but when I know I'm going second, because for tactics, for me, tactics is used to go first. Call by the Grave is used to go first. I know that tactics has that flexibility to be able to go second, but normally I'd much rather see a stronger card while going second. So in theory, I'd just side out the tactics and the call by for like evenlies, 3 evenlies or something like that. Sometimes when you want to side very heavy, you can side out, like Bert just said. I side out a Gearfried every now and then. I side a Gearfried, I'll side out like DD. I don't ever side out, take it back. I don't ever side out DDR because I need to keep the keeper of names, but I've caught myself siding out Gearfried, Durandal, just by name. Roland, the main deck Roland will come out. I normally keep Malgus in, but Malgus is definitely... You have a lot of options to side out. Like, the deck you could almost minimize the deck pretty consistently with what you need. You know what I mean? And TTT is an FTK going against, Kashtira because you just literally take the Rise Heart. Is Rise Heart a warrior? I know like Rise Heart is, but is a Rise Heart a warrior? Very interesting. Because you could take it and link it off into the Ferocious Flame Swordsman too. Gentlemen, I'm gonna have one less dog in my house pretty soon. But yeah, you could. It's the limit, guys. It's really the limit. Sky's the limit. He's a machine. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. But anyway, that's all right. We can still take it and like link up into like Flame Swordsman and stuff like that. Make Flame Swordsman and like special another warrior. As long as Rise Heart's off the field, like we have free range. I just don't have a hang of this deck yet. I do with my Brenda Chimera, but not this yet. Driving me nuts. I keep screwing up. Hey man, practice makes perfect. Please show Good Boy on stream. She's a girl, and I have 2 girls, and one's faithfully stays by my side over here that you never hear about, and then this one that barks is always being taunted. We have a fat squirrel. They might, man. That'd be kind of cool. Because technically, like, yeah, that's what happens, Angel, is Roland dies. Roland gets killed and Charles, like, gets angry. And that's where, like, the Horn of Oliphant comes in and stuff like that as well. He toots the horn when their rear guard gets attacked. And by the time Charles shows up, him and I think Oliver both get killed in the fight. It's really sad. Sky's the limit. Like, we have a matter of Britain, which is Arthur. We have a matter of France, which is Charlemagne. We technically have a matter of Rome to go through too. So we really, they do have the ability to make like different knight orders. I mean, technically, they can still go through and do like Templar. Like, I mean, they'd have to do something else because like Templar is too religiously significant. Yeah, see, that'd be interesting to know, like, if they decided to do like a noble knights, but did like all water, like Aqua Knights or something like that, or maybe you call them like. So I know like this is crazy, but like the Argo Knights, that'd be kind of cool. Argo Nobles or something like that, because Argonauts in ancient Greece were like, if you guys remember the old movie Jason the Argonauts, like that would be kind of cool. They could do Wind Knights. They could definitely do. They could do tons of stuff. They could do like Swift Noble Knights or something like that. Like, they're awful at naming, right? But like be based on like I think they have like just tons of options. They could be based off like cavalry. It could be based off of like, they just have so much options they could potentially do. They could do it based off of Attila the Hun. They just have a lot of stuff they could do. So only time will tell. And I think what they need to do, right, is if they do that, so like that's something that's interesting, right, is most of the Infernoble stuff we got works with Fire Warriors, right? There's very few cards, but like all the OG Noble Knight stuff work well with everything, but like they definitely have to make like their own sense of equip spells, right? And I think something that people forget about is like Durandal, Joyous, and Almus. They're good cards with their effects, but they also have insane cards. They're insane effects, like if they get linked off. Like Durandal is a Monster Reborn. So like if you get Drolled and you have Durandal, just use Durandal to reborn something. Extend, you know? They could. They really could. They could do tons of stuff. They could truly do like tons and tons. They could like go deep into the lore of everything. It's interesting because in Noble Knights, you had the Ignoble Knight, right? You had Lancelin, and that kind of like was telling the story, right? But we really haven't touched base at all with like Charles, but Charles is also fighting against like not just per se like Lancelot. He's fighting against like an army. That was like the entire Charlemagne thing, right? Was he united France, or he united the Franks, and he was able to like you know. Do you play around on any sims like DVO Pro Master? I play around on I play around on Omega. That's probably the only simulator I really play around with. Which I also, that's why I agree with you, Archangel, is like if they decide to do like they can maybe another noble archetype, right? They could do like another noble archetype and make it be like against the people that he fights against. Chat, serious question. Serious question. This is going to be a fun fact, and y'all can laugh at me later. But if you guys think, like you had a fist fight any animal, what animal do you think you could take in a fight? Totally off subject. All right, Redgrave, you guys have a good night. I hear that game's awesome. You have a good night. Thank you for joining. But yeah, what do you guys think? If you guys had to be put in a cage, like in a fighting ring against one animal, and it can't be a chihuahua, it can't be like something like pathetic, you know, that you could punt. Like a decent sized animal. What animal are you fighting? I got mine figured out, man. I've been watching videos. I'm ready. We also do not support animal abuse or animal fighting on this channel. And let's just get that clear and out of the way. A for hire player. Turtle. Okay. Now, just a normal turtle sees this or a snapping turtle? Because let me tell you, I've literally, I come from the south and I've seen those snapping turtles. Like, they'd fuck you up, man. A snapping turtle would mess you up. But if it's just like a normal turtle, easy. You just pick it up and throw it. GG. I mean, like, you might not hurt it because of their shell, but, like, if you throw it out of the ring. I hate to say it, y'all, and y'all gonna laugh at me. I've watched tons of stuff on this. I think I could fight a shark. I've been telling my friends, I think if you put me in the water with a shark, I could fight it. And let me tell you the reason why. You grab them by the nose, and you twist them. You rotate them. Once they're rotated upside down, they're defenseless. They, like, shut down. And then you just end up just uppercutting them in the back, and then you could choke them out. Good deal. People don't think that. People don't know it, man. Or if a shark, you know, like, I'll have to fight 2 sharks at the same time. One comes at me, I rotate one. The other one, I pop it in the nose where it's all of its, like, nerves are, and it'll just be like, ow, and swim off. Easy. Shark. Normal turtle. I just imagine a poor tortoise, right? He's been on this planet for 100 years, and just to get flippin' yoinked out of a ring, he didn't even get a chance to put up a fight. The good old, grab him in the nose and you twist it. See, man, I would even say, like, maybe a cat, but I've seen these stray cats. I work on the reservation, and I've seen these, like, res cats rip apart things. Like, I'm talking, like, they tear things apart because they're fast and they're cunning. And once they get a hold of your leg, man, they, like, spider monkey all over you. Like, before you know it, you're being choked out by the cat. And then, like, you never fight just one cat. There's a pack of them. They travel in groups. But a turtle. Sleaze, you answered that kind of quickly, man. You were just kind of on it. It's like you were like, I've waited for this moment I've, like, had this plan too. What? You have 2 chances to rotate a shark, though, because after the second time you're out of arms to rotate one. That is fair, but all you need is once. You just gotta rotate them once. Next stream I pop on, I have just one arm, and it's like, well, guys, we effed around and we found out that I could not beat a shark. So anyway, just one arm dueling, you know, just like sitting here. That'd be great. Actually, you know what? I think I'd wear my helmet. I'd go underwater and wear my helmet. But anyway, guys, I think we'll wrap up the stream here. I will probably be on tomorrow. I'm going to talk it over with my buddy about the Elden Ring thing. Please remember, if you guys enjoy this content, give a like, give a subscribe, hit that join button, check out the store. Not much more can be said, but other than that, thank you guys so much for the support. You guys have a wonderful evening or night, or maybe this is your morning, whatever it be. You guys stay safe and stay healthy. This is going to be Charles from Team COG signing out.